Japa is one of the main spiritual practices combined with the prayer and meditation. It forms a triangle, a threefold method of reaching out for God, establishing Him within and keeping Him there. Prayer is simply the act of talking to God. The word can be spoken aloud, whispered, or uttered mentally. They reach out to God and invite Him to come down and take His seat upon the lotus of the earth. Once He is there, we begin to do japa and meditate. Japa is a continuous silent repetition of a very short prayer or invocation called a mantra. It can be done on its own or in conjunction with the meditation. Meditation is the act of visualizing God within us. Together, these two practices establish God within us and enable us to feel His presence. In the intervals between meditation sessions, we usually get preoccupied with our daily work. If God gets restless and be neglected and seems inclined to leave His seat, we can bring Him back by doing so. So prayer draws the Lord from the heavens to the earth. Japa and meditation establish Him on His throne within and japa keeps Him there. Of course, His grace is also necessary. Without it, nothing happens. Prayer and meditation require our full attention, but one of the advantages of japa is that you can do other things at the same time. It is also a good way to shut down the endless chatter of the mind. We often find our thoughts wandering. Japa pulls them back and gives them focus. It's like a thread that ties the mind to the lotus feet of the Lord. It reminds us always to pay attention to Him. The fixed time establishes the habit. Once you get used to doing it a certain time, you get restless to do it when those times comes. If you don't do it, you feel guilty. In fact, guilty feelings are common among devotees who skip doing their job. If you don't want to feel guilty, better not skip it. Early morning japa, which is recommended most highly, is supposed to take hold quickly because the mind is fresh and doesn't have to govern itself away from worldly thoughts. But you have to make sure that you are fully awake or you are likely to fall asleep. Japa is sometimes difficult for Westerners because the mantra is in Sanskrit language we are unfamiliar with. The big complaint that most people make about japa is that it's boring. Who wants to keep chanting the same old line? What's the waste of time? What's the point? The point, of course, is to recondition the mind. That's what spiritual practice is all about. To recondition the mind so that it will become a fit place for the indwelling of the Lord. but our minds are restless and scream for more exciting fear. This is especially true in our switched on era when when cyberspace is cracking with high-tech entertainment. Who wants to pray when you can Google? Who wants to chant when you can Twitter? If we are serious about spiritual life, we have to shut down the computer and dig out the old rosary. Experts show that if we keep working on our job, it gradually takes hold. It stops being boring and eventually becomes sweet. The mantra becomes an old friend, something solid in the foundation of our mind. It can be healing balm in times of grief, a refuge in times of trouble. It takes on a life of its own and rises from our subconscious to greet us whenever we turn to it. It also becomes something very much like the default setting of the mind. When the mind wanders, the mantra often emerges spontaneously. We find it resounding within us without making any effort. All we have to do is listen.